a heroin church. Thought I'd do something I only do every now and again, and that is just send you specifically an unlisted video. I mean, I send other people unlisted videos. And I'm doing this because I just watched that back and forth with you and Piro, and just subbed to your channel and thought, I thought, and I'm the big fat neck, older, fucked up dude that argues against the anti-nailist. You know me. You know me. We've talked. I don't know you exactly. It doesn't matter. Exactly. But some of the things that you said and some of the things that I think you're going through are not dissimilar to what a lot of people go through. I think being down on yourself is normal, right? Piro says he doesn't think there's any good out of it. I think it's a static state to dwell in. I think it can flush out a lot of time and a lot of things, and I think that back, when I was your age, assuming that you're late teens, early 20s, that it was pre-internet time for me, and so a lot of the social mores or the connective media it was one way. It was TV, it was sitcoms, or it was friends at school and whatnot. And I guess the whole suicide thing, and you've mentioned that you've got money, so you're pretty well to do in the money department. You don't have that to worry about. You have your items, and then you are a bit, you're a little bit pissy about the whole. I got, would you say, like tulips in the front yard and a cat to pet, something like that. But why? God, how to put it? What did you say? Sorry, it was just a one-time run. I guess I could replay the video, but what I'm getting at was initial ostracism. You've identified yourself as being what, transgendered. I don't know. I have a sibling that's gay. I don't know whether or not he felt he shouldn't be, shouldn't have his penis. He seemed to be pretty good about his body. He had a couple of boyfriends for about 15 years, and then he stepped out on them and started going out with another person, and they broke up with him. And he's still friends with them, but he remained an introvert in a lower middle class household. I mean, I don't come from a lot of money, and so he didn't either. And he didn't have anybody that could relate with his condition in the slightest, and he remained in his bedroom for the majority of 18 years until he finally got out. He was by far, I would imagine, more restricted, more cut off than your experience, your ability to interact online, to find like minds and like kinds of people. The mere fact that you have that ability with the spider web, interweb, to find common minds is something that he didn't have. So he sucked it up, so to speak. Anyway, I don't know to the what extent he became suicidal, as much as he just kind of wanted to back down. Now, the reason I bring a lot of this up is because the way in which you express yourself, based on my hearing your videos and reading your comments and so forth, reminds me of some of my own thoughts when I was that age, and that they were very understood. They were very flat. By flat, I meant I could take a very large concept and just black or white, just know what side I was on, move to the next, know what side I was on, and just separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. And I think that you're doing that in huge, bold strokes, right? And I think Emendham does that in huge, bold strokes. I'm not going to say you are. My concern is that every age, back before media, people serve different ages. Kind of like, I don't know if you have any siblings or whatnot, but if you were around 6 years old, 6-year-olds, you probably wouldn't want to expose them to adult porn, right? I wouldn't want to expose, third graders to calculus. I don't want to expose junior high kids to world politics. And by the same token, I think, and I call these rite of passages, and I think these are kind of natural orders of things. And I think what's happening now, and the thing that I am upset at, is that all things now can be said, and people have access to them, so that there are dilated eras of life that older individuals go through that you cannot possibly know or empathize with or relate with. Even at older ages, it's hard to know how to react to the dilation of time in your metabolism. When Piro keeps talking about positive and negative, see, I don't take that approach because I don't believe in value attachment, right? I just don't. I think pain is, I don't think pain is bad, right? So take that one as far as snapping the wheat from the chaff, right? And I'll link a couple videos. I wouldn't mind you reading the comments. You can call them bullshit if you want. You can abuse this video if you would like, and I'll end any sort of interaction with you at that point, because I just don't put up with that shit. But if you're open to a dialogue or you want to comment on it, I'll keep it on the lowdown, because initially my sensations listening to what it is you're going through, I thought of three things. I thought, uh-oh, we have somebody that's considering suicide that's upset. And I thought that would be a hell of a disturbance in the force. And it reminded me of communes and the horror and just the knowledge of suicide. It's such that dark connotation. And then, but if it happens, it happens. But I think the next thing that came through my mind was William S. Burroughs, writer of Naked Lunch, Ticket That Exploded. Might want to pick up one of his readers if you don't think that anyone, just because Emendham doesn't fucking read doesn't mean you shouldn't, right? Doesn't mean other people don't read shitloads and shitloads. And you made some comment to Piro about not having your mind able to choose what you think. Well, just pick up a nice fat fucking book and go through it again. I'm not saying you haven't, but just keep doing it, right? You'll get other people's and other lives' impressions. They're so much more nuanced and detailed, and it's a different medium than anything that you know. Anyway, William Burroughs, his attitude, very nihilistic, killed his wife, cut his finger off, had a son. Son died a junkie, even wrote a book about being a junkie. They're both junkies. He died at about 78, hell of a writer, just the harshest life I've ever read, right? And Viktor Frankel, forget the name of the book, something about valuing life. You might want to read that, Suffering the Holocaust. Anyway, the point about William S. Burroughs is that he basically, after reading him, he had reframed that the process of life, whether they're suffering or not, it is what it is, to the point that your death is going to come so goddamn quickly anyway that it's just a blink, right? So just go through the damn blink like everyone else. And when the end comes, it comes, but you'll be a ripe fucking apple, right? Maybe you'll become famous. Maybe you can bust a move, right? And actually study the famous, wicked, fun, kick-ass, undercurrent people that rise to fame and love their lives for all the blood, sweat, and tears, or die trying, right? And it's really, I mean, when you're young, you can learn what it is to just quit bitching and start picking and start moving and actually produce an art. I mean, a lot of what goes on YouTube is just nitpick and diversion against the real art and artists that are actually affecting people, and they're getting involved in things that they love. Now, if you don't have like a love for music, an authentic zest for it, right? If all you do is love, let's say, junk and heroin and that shit, there must be something. I mean, even in my drug days, there must be something that entertains your retinas or your audio field, or maybe you want to become a massage therapist. Maybe you have no need to become famous. Maybe you don't want it, right? But you made some other comment, very snarky, about the money, right? That made me think, God, you are just one spoiled little bitch of a kid. And I felt sorry for you then, because I mean, and I'll drop the link to that little girl that didn't get her right little car right. And you said something to Pyrrha like, maybe some people are more sensitive than you, right? Well, this little girl's so sensitive about the color of her car, or about not getting the right car at the right time. Oh, woe is me. And she could be considered sensitive, right? All I know is this. I've got a lot of time on you. My older brother's got a lot of time on you, and there's a shitload of gay people in the world that have genetically evolved just like the rest of us. There's nothing unnatural. You are who you are. Just move with the flow. Find good love. Find good connection. Enjoy yourself a little, experiment a little, but when you find what it is you think you should be doing, then do it. And just keep doing it and keep pushing towards it. And yeah, realize you're going to die, but then before you know it, just like playing with your poo when you're an infant, or playing with the neighbor kids when you're an adolescent, or worrying about your fucking junior high locker combo, all this shit's going to go out of the way, right? That's why I make comments about, Amendham's empty life. And the guy just goes to work, and he comes home, and he works on his hair, and he lives in a fucking rat's nest, and he bitch, but enough about him, right? He do what he wants. I don't really give a shit. I do what I want. Everyone's going to do what they want. The whole story here, the whole end point of what I'm getting at, is the idea of the notion of suicide based on some sort of resentment relative to your parents. You don't need to work to their expectations, but you don't need to drag them in terms of a philosophy of suffering and this bullshit notion, this notion of imposition of life that you hold on to, right? You don't need to torque them and bring them down when you are breathing. Man, you have such a healthy body compared to me, compared to so many people. You're smart enough to work through this. You don't need to be worried about whether or not you follow the nuances, because it just comes. But I mean, it's more of a follow your passion, drop the rhetoric, move into plus things. And if you need to remain and retain that little kernel of bitch and moan, that little sharp underbelly, then do it. Get snappy. But if you take that thing so goddamn seriously that it rips your life apart, and that you honestly stand with a gun next to your head, or you think I'm going to shoot more drugs and off myself, then I just think it's sad, man, and I think it's a bad move. and that's just my opinion. I'd say more, but